good evening and welcome to the sports show. It's your boys Hanif and Wajid yet again. Wajid, how you doing?
I'm alright, Halad. How was your weekend?
Awesome. Yours?
Can't complain.
Definitely right. So we've got another special guest with us. We've got a professional boxer from Rochdale, known as the Diabetic Kid. I give you Mohammed Ali. Mohammed, how you doing?
I'm great, thanks Wajid. Thank you for having me on your show, Hanif. I meant to say.
No problem at all. So you're 4-0. Talk to me about your nickname, the Diabetic Kid. How did that come about?
First of all, I'm the first diabetic to get a professional boxing license in the UK and in the world. And my journey with the diabetes started at the age of 5, and I've been involved in sports since a young age. Got into boxing from around in my teenage years, 13, 14, and I've had a lot of problems, getting my boxing license as an amateur. We overcame the hurdle and I managed to get my amateur boxing license, had 30 odd fights, did decent, and then in the professional ranks I was supposed to make my professional boxing debut in 2015, and that came to a halt due to me being diabetic and the British Board of Boxing Control denying my license, with no medical reason given. And my manager, Asad Shamim, he came on board, got a legal team together, the endocrinologist, Dr. Ian Gallen came on board, and we got a great team together. He worked with the likes of Sir Steve Redgrave. We fought and got my license in 2018 of June, and since then I've had 4 fights, 4 wins, and we're on to my 5th one on the 3rd of August.
Fantastic. Someone who's already fighting before he even gets into the ring, Wajid.
It's constant. It's what we've heard though constantly about the politics in boxing. It just seems like it's never ending.
It was discrimination. Like for example, we celebrate Eid, our Christmas.
Yeah.
And Asad, he's a family friend. Firstly he's a family friend, then he's my boxing manager.
Right. Okay.
And we sit on a table and we tend to talk about how we're getting on in life. So I, out of respect, I call Asad Uncle Asad. So Uncle Asad said to me, "So what's going on with the boxing?" And I said, I went back into the amateurs because they put a stop to me turning professional. So I went back into the amateurs, and he asked me like, "What's going on?" And he said, "Look, we can get your license. This is discrimination." And we spoke on the topic, and next minute, I remember Eid was in October, and he likes to move fast. And I've not even had my license a year, and I've had 4 fights already, and we're moving at a fast pace. And he goes, Uncle Asad says, "I'll get back to you in a couple of weeks, leave this with me." And next thing you know, we're doing a peaceful protest at Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker's fight, and Joshua's father comes in and joins in the protest with us. And within 4 weeks post the peaceful protest, I've got my boxing license, and we've taken off 4-0 now.
Fantastic. Awesome. Right then, so let's take you back to your childhood. Tell us what you were like as a kid growing up in Rochdale, I believe.
Yeah.
And
it's the best town in the world. So how I got into boxing was, at the time, I'm big, sports fan. As a youngster, when I became diabetic, exercise has been part of my lifestyle now, to control my sugar levels in a good manner, and working around my diet, burning off the calories. Got involved in football and got involved in cricket, rugby. I think I've played every sport you can name, even golf. And I was a good footballer. I played, up to under 15s, and I watched Ricky Hatton when he fought Costa Zoo. I was at the MEN arena when they fought the American time, because they had to shut the arena at 12 a.m. due to American time.
Yeah.
And Costa Zoo said, "I'll fight in Manchester if you do the fight American time though." Okay. So they fought around 3 a.m. and I remember being there, and then watching the Olympians, coming along, and I said to my dad, "Look, I want to go into boxing. Let me have a try." He said, "No, looking at my health, being diabetic." And he said, no, you'll end up, hurting yourself. Muhammad Ali's got brain injuries, Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And I don't want you ending up like that. So I said to my mum, kept nagging her, my mum's a feisty one, and I said to her, like, she could drive, so take me to the gym. And she took me up behind my dad's back, and next week, they phoned my dad, my boxing coaches, and saying, look, Ali is ready to box, we need to get him his medical done. We've got to have an annual medical, a check on your body every year. And done my medical, and my boxing license gets denied. And then speaking to doctors, get my license, and started boxing. And from there, it was my first year at college. I studied sports studies at college. And then from college, I won a few, tournaments. I won the Haringey Box Cup, won the Celtic Box Cup, won the university championships. I went to Edge Hill University and studied sports studies, and got a scholarship at Edge Hill University from boxing, winning them a national title. And then turned pro, got my boxing license denied in 2015, and Uncle Asad came to my rescue, and we managed to get my license. Going back and forth for a few years. It was a 3-year battle with the British Board of Boxing Control, going back and forth with medical letters, and them replying, going back and forth, and we ended up with my license, and now we're here in your studio talking about the story.
So which gym did you start off in?
Bury Amateur Boxing Club.
Is it still there?
Yeah.
And what
Producing champions.
Okay. Which champions has it produced? Who has it produced?
Scott Quigg,
Scott
Amir
Quigg.
Khan, myself, many boxers. Many.
Awesome. And what impact has that boxing gym had on the local community?
Massive. I think sports is the best thing to do if you want to take, young children, not even children, even adults. Let's forget crime. Let's bring health into the
ring.
Not even into the ring. Let's just bring health into sport. It helps reduce mental health. Not even just mental health, just helps better your health. For example, me being diabetic, if it wasn't for sport, I'd be in a bad state right now. So I think anybody suffering from any condition, be it asthma, be it diabetes, any other, cancer, obesity, get involved in sport. It'll change your life. Even if you're suffering from depression, Tyson Fury's, shown to the world how it's changed his life. Boxing has.
Definitely. Thank you for the kind words, Heath Woollett Dirrig. I believe that's someone who you know, maybe someone from Rochdale. Okay, so we know a little bit about your childhood and the impact boxing has had, and Rochdale itself. Talk to me about becoming a pro boxer, the process of that. So you've faced a lot of obstacles when it came to sitting a medical and going through the British Board of Boxing Associations. Was there anything else which you thought, these are just hurdles that every boxer has to face? So you've got medical, you got I believe you have to pay a licensing fee, which I don't know how much it is, and you also need a coach, someone who's dedicated and willing to help you grow in the sport.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. The coach has to be dedicated as the fighter, hungry for success. In boxing, if you're not hungry, I think you're taking part in the wrong sport or in the wrong activity, because boxing is the hurt business. And I've got a very hungry manager. He's sat in the back now. I think he's itching his head. He's hungry there, but he's hungry for success, and you need people like that. For example, we were setting off for your podcast today, and I was a few minutes late home, and I heard a lecture for the first 5 minutes of the journey. This is such a reason why you should be early. And I think you having hungry people around you will only bring the best out of you.
Definitely.
And positive people. You need positive energy. For example, if I've got negative energy around me, it may rub off on me, and I may go down that route, with the negative person. So, and always a negative, you can turn it into a positive. And I'd like to, show people, for example, with diabetes, I could have, buried my head under sand and called boxing a day, but I had a good person in Uncle Esther who's lifted me and said, get your head together and get your backside in gear and off you go, get to the gym. And I got back stuck in the gym. And you may have watched my previous fights, and what have you thought about them?
I think you're someone who's up and coming, someone who's hungry, and I'd personally like to see you go longer rounds.
Yeah.
Once 8 rounds, 10 rounds. That's when
don't
you see the
forget, it's only
true
my
skill of a
fourth fight.
boxer. I know you're only 1 year in, and
Yeah.
I think that's when we'll see the real Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
So we appreciate you guys coming down.
I'd
You've
like to
totally
thank you
lost
for
me. I was just
inviting me.
mesmerized by what you were saying.
I have a question.
Okay.
I want to talk about your diabetes
Yeah.
and the drug testing that goes behind that, because you said it was a 3-year battle,
Yeah.
but surely with you having, I presume you take insulin.
Insulin, yeah.
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 That's so in bodybuilding, I know insulin shots are used
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah.
profusely for
Yeah.
muscle building.
Absolutely, yeah.
How are the insulin shots that you take monitored by the boxing association?
It's for example, your body produces insulin because your pancreas is lively.
Yeah.
And how you become diabetic is when your pancreas isn't working and producing insulin. Insulin controls your sugar levels inside your body, and I've got to take a jab to control, the sugar levels I'm consuming. So, if I don't inject insulin into my body, I'll end up, in an unhealthy manner.
My cousin's type 1 diabetic as well.
Yeah.
And he's suffered from hyperglycemic shock because of his sugar levels and stuff.
Dropping.
Yeah. My question is more on the basis that did the British board kind of monitor like your what sort of levels of shots you're taking, or how high the dosages are? Because if they were so adamant that you shouldn't get your license,
I was given no medical reason.
Oh, you weren't given a medical reason?
Zero medical
Right,
reason.
okay.
For why I'm not being given a boxing license.
Right.
I was just given zero reasons.
How well do you control your sugars then? Generally, through a year, given you go through camp or out of camp or during Ramadan, how much your sugars fluctuate?
I'm sponsored by a company called Freestyle Libre.
Right.
And they've given me, it's a monitor which is half the size of my iPhone, and I've got a sensor just below my hip, and I scan over it, and it shows my sugar levels, if they're staying consistent, if they're dropping, if they're raising.
Yeah.
And that's how I control my sugar levels.
So my cousin has like a small
Omnipod.
Omnipod.
Yeah, I can't.
You
I've
can't.
got to inject.
Right, you have to inject.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
because you've got to place that on your stomach,
Yes,
on your
yeah, yeah.
abdominals. But I've got it. I can't. If I get a body shot, that Omnipod's flying away.
Right.
So I inject, and that works better for me. But as I control my insulin, as I control my diet in a good manner, my reduction of my insulin intake reduces.
Right.
So it works a bonus for me. For example, I think diabetes, and if anyone's suffering from diabetes, get involved in boxing, because boxing consists of weight categories, and if I'm eating good foods, I'll stay within my weight category, or it'll be easy for me to make the weight category. And consuming good foods, again, it'll only help control my sugar levels in a good manner. So I think boxing and diabetes work hand in hand.
Thank you very much. Like I said, I was more interested.
I
was just intrigued because, like I said, insulin's massive in the bodybuilding community when they mix it with HCG, which obviously it increases muscle growth like no means. So I was just wondering if it.
No. I'm only taking small dosages because, like you mentioned, hypoglycemia. If I take the wrong intake, I'll be in.
You'll crash. You'll end up in hyperglycemic shock and
I might end up in a coma, and that'll be the end of boxing.
Are the British board monitoring you closely since they were so reluctant to give you your license? Are they?
I wouldn't say.
Do you think they're looking for an excuse to take your license off you?
No, they're not. I've got to be, speaking the truth. They're not. But I've raised my game in monitoring my diabetes because I want to become the first world champion. You know, being diabetic. I want to create history once again. We've created history once. Want to create history again, and I'm monitoring my diabetes in a good manner and very closely because I've got to keep my health intact. You know, I've got to stay healthy. For example, if I suffer from hypoglycemia, I'll be setting myself back.
Yeah.
I'll be taking a few steps back rather than going forwards.
Yeah.
Have any people reached out to you who were diabetic and that wanted to become boxers?
Oh, many. We get
But
loads of
they've been
emails,
turned
don't we? Yeah, they've asked for advice, and like I said, I put the man who helped me. I just forward them to him, and he speaks direct. I give back to. For example, if anybody's suffering from diabetes and needs any help, just fire your questions across to me. You can go on my website www.mohammedaliboxing.com, or my social networks, my email, how to contact me is all on the website, and I'd love to help people and give back.
No, awesome. So how difficult or easy was it for someone in your position in approaching businesses and I'm assuming asking for sponsorship, to start fighting? Because obviously
I'd like to ask you a question now.
Go
in
on then.
2015 I got my license denied.
Right.
Done, dusted, boxing finished. 2018 I got my license back, and in that 3-year gap my head was not in the game. You wouldn't be calling me in your office for an interview back then, and it was over for me. It was done, dusted. So it was very, very difficult, because when we originally applied for my license, I got a one-line reply back from the British Board of Boxing Controls. The words were, "At this moment in time, due to you being diabetic, we can't give you your license."
Have they put something in place now for
a protocol
for people in the future who want to become pro boxers? Is there something in place now as a result of you being the first one?
Yeah.
Diabetic people can't box.
Yeah, we've set the protocol.
Okay.
So there's a procedure to follow. So if you contact the British Board of Boxing Control, they'll get it over across to you.
All right. Okay. That's awesome.
There's a procedure to follow. That's all it is. As long as you're healthy, you're ready to rumble.
All right. Brilliant. So another process of becoming a pro is selling tickets. How do you find that?
We've had like a mixture of results in selling tickets, and I'd like people to come and support me because I'm the first diabetic, and being the first diabetic, I just don't want to be known as, oh, he's the diabetic boxer. I want to be known as he's the champion. He's the first diabetic to become a champion in boxing, and that's how I want to be known. So I need the support of people. I'm boxing on the 3rd of August, so I'd like people to contact myself. Like I said, you can go on my website www.mohammedaliboxing.com and purchase your tickets direct off my website. And it's very important that I get the support at the start of my career, because we'll be travelling all around England and across internationally very, very soon. I can't make the announcement at the moment. I'll let my manager do that. I only do the boxing and he does all the deals behind the scenes, and we're not too far away from going across the pond to box.
All right, brilliant. Right, let's talk about your
Sorry,
go
going
on.
back to the tickets, it's very important that we grow the fan base and go to shows together, because it brings a second wind out of me. Not only as a business aspect of the sport, but as a fighter, your fans getting behind you, making noise. If I get into trouble, like get hurt in a fight, sometimes people shouting, getting behind you, lifts you, gives you that drive, to get yourself back together to win a fight. And it's very important. I have a strong fan base. So anybody watching the podcast, this show live, please get on board and follow my journey with me. It's not your ordinary journey, it's an extraordinary journey.
No, awesome. I want to talk about your training schedule.
Yeah.
At this moment in time, are you what do you weigh at the moment?
I do it in kilos,
Okay,
so I'm
so-
about 72.5 kilo.
And what's your fighting weight?
At the minute, I'm boxing at 11 stone.
And how many kilos of that, Wajid? What are we talking?
It's about 70.
About 70, about 60, 69, 68.
Okay, so you're
No, not 68.
no.
It's
It's about
about 70
74?
kilo. 70
Yeah, so-
kilo.
so you're a couple of
70
pounds
kilo.
over.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you look after yourself post fighting, like in
Yeah.
terms of your weight, or do you let yourself go?
No, I don't let myself go. I do. I like to, I look up to the likes of Joshua and Chris Eubank Jr. They're always training, and I like my body burning. Being in training all year round. For example, when I've not got a fight coming up, I go and play badminton
Okay.
with my manager. He's a good player at badminton. I go swimming, play 5-side football, but your ankles get bitten away sometimes, so I've got to be careful on the football pitch. But I love being involved in sport and staying in shape.
Okay.
I like, keeping my abs.
Awesome. So you're playing different sports to keep fit
yeah,
and
to
to
keep fit. Yeah,
keep your mind busy.
I like hiking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Brilliant. I love hiking, to be fair. What do you enjoy the nutritional aspect of being a boxer? Because it can have a mental impact, can't it?
I
Because-
enjoy my food.
But do you enjoy your food when you're training for a fight?
Yeah, because I get to eat good foods. Do you know, for example, when I'm in training now for my next fight, which is 5 weeks away today, I'm eating good foods. I'm eating home, fresh cooked food. My vegetables are fresh as well. My chicken, my lamb, fish, everything's absolutely fresh. So, for example, when I have a cheat meal, I post fight, my stomach goes upset. I end up throwing up, and I have a hard time on the toilet as well. And I feel as though when I'm not eating good foods, my body goes down. I feel horrible, lethargic.
You're probably the only boxer that we've
Yeah.
interviewed as of late to
No.
say that you still look after yourself post
Honestly, that's the
your
truth.
fight.
I love my
post-fighting.
desserts. I love my desserts. I'm a dessert man rather than eating a main course. I'd rather eat a dessert. But when I do that, it has a big impact on on my body. I feel slow and lethargic.
Okay, no.
Makes a refreshing change, that.
I know. So you're following in the footsteps of Joshua, Eubank Jr. and one of my favourites, Floyd Mayweather Jr.,
Yeah,
who's always stayed fit.
Yeah, and around his weight.
Yeah, he's always around his weight.
He could box tomorrow if he wants.
Yeah, I remember he fought Conor McGregor. That he was playing basketball or something the day after.
just staying fit. Yeah.
It just surprises me that he's obviously built the program that you have to follow to be successful. Don't
I'm
you?
going to interrupt you there. I'm a historian
Okay.
of boxing. I love studying old boxers. Look at Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah.
He's the oldest world champion. A few years ago, he was 52 or 53, and in between the minute rest in between rounds, he was doing press ups. Remember against the fight, who did he box now? In Canada, it wasn't Chad Dawson, Jane Pascal.
Yeah.
And in the rest, he was doing press ups. Come on, he was 52 in that fight, Bernard Hopkins, and he started boxing at the age of 27, and it just shows looking after your body, you can go on forever. Floyd Mayweather, he's another prime example. Look after your body and you can do absolutely anything you want in life. You can keep pushing yourself as long as you're consuming the right fuel.
Why do you think a lot of fighters let themselves go?
Lifestyle,
Lifestyle.
not staying disciplined. And I was watching, one of the lads in the boxing gym, he said 50 Cent doesn't like hanging around with Floyd Mayweather. They hung out day and night, but Floyd does not miss a training session, and 50 Cent couldn't keep up with him. He's after a long day out, he's going for a 5-mile run. He said the man is phenomenal. He's insane, training after such a long day, and that just shows why he's undefeated and why all his boxers look up to Floyd Mayweather. And he just says be disciplined.
So what's a regular training week for you then? What would it consist of?
Running, strength work, boxing, pad work, working on skill, sparring, and
Can you give us an
That's it,
example of
really.
working on skill? What do you mean by that?
for example, counter punching. There's
Okay.
counter punching. So when somebody throws a jab,
Marquez against Manny
Ye-
Pacquiao.
Yeah, beautiful. He timed that right hand perfectly, didn't he, when he put his lights out? So, working on counter punching like Marquez, working on the back foot like Floyd Mayweather. He works beautifully on the back foot like Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard works lovely on the back foot. And then coming forward, like Andy Ruiz did in an educated manner against Joshua. Come on, you've got to give him credit where it's due. I know he beat our national hero in Anthony Joshua. I don't think he's just a national hero. He's an international hero. A great role model. He's taken the defeat in such a fantastic manner. He's given his props to Andy Ruiz, and I was in shock, like just watching his footwork. Andy Ruiz's footwork. And the way he was taking inch setbacks from Joshua when he was throwing his jabs and then countering him with the backhand, and working at a good energy, working at a good pace. He wasn't wasting any shots. He was making each shot count, against Joshua. And working on your footwork, that's working on skill. Working on your defence, working on the front foot coming forward, and
We're getting educated. We're just getting educated all the time at this
That's
young
it,
man. We're
really.
just getting educated. I could
Like-
listen to you all day.
Like you're a big football fan or
Yeah.
coach. Like Ronaldo's footwork, it's totally different to Lionel Messi's, isn't it?
Yes.
And if you look at Mike Tyson's footwork and you look at Manny Pacquiao's, two different styles, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's how you can, develop your skill. Like Lomachenko, look at his feet; they work differently to Manny Pacquiao's and your Tyson's, and you can pick up little things from each boxer.
The boxer that tends to have the better footwork does tend to do
Wins the
really
fights,
well.
Yeah, Andy Ruiz's footwork was beautiful against Joshua's.
How long does it take to develop that type of footwork? What do you have to do? What are you doing for improving
That's
your
totally
footwork?
different for everybody. It comes down to how fast do you learn. So, for example, with me, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I don't really know. We can only ask my coach. Am I a fast learner? Am I a slow learner?
No, but do you do any drills when it comes to footwork, or do
Yeah,
you concentrate
yeah,
more on the
yeah,
pad
no.
work? And
We do a lot of
Power.
drills on footwork. Working on the ladders, when doing pad work with the coach. Keeping an eye on the feet rather than using the hands. Working on movement, in sparring.
does he measure your speed when it comes to the ladder, like how quick
No,
you're doing?
no. It's just
So because
if I'm
how do
keeping my
you
foot
measure your
flat-
speed then? Does
it's
it
not. It's
all
not
come down
about
to
working
the,
on speed.
the spar?
It's working on how you're moving away.
Okay.
How you're
So
moving
you
off.
move away and jab.
Yeah,
and,
but like you've just mentioned, speed. It depends what combination am I going to throw. Am I going to throw 6 punches? Then it will have to be quick to get out of the way. But if I'm going to throw a power shot, I've got to get in there fast and let my hands go and make sure I'm twisting into the shots.
I wanted to ask you: are you a full-time boxer, or do you work as well?
No, full-time
You're
boxing.
a full-time
Yeah.
boxer. Okay.
I'm
that's
taking it seriously because in boxing, one hiccup can cause a major setback.
good. No, definitely.
I've had 3 years taken away from me. I don't want any more years taken away from me.
What kept you going? What
I wanna
what
give
was it about
hope.
those 3 years?
I want to give hope back. What got me going was that man sat in the back. I can't see him though, Wajid. Yeah, he gave me hope. Like I said, I've got positive energy around me. My father, my brother, Uncle Asad's son Hamad, my mother uplifted me. Listen, you can do it. If you be the first diabetic to do it, you'll bring thousands on, and them people will look up to you and give you good energy. So do it, show hope, give back, give hope to not only people suffering from diabetes, people who are suffering from mental health or who are not even on the right path. In life some people have a bit of a negative time, and then give them hope that not to give up in life. Never give up on your dreams, they're always achievable.
So during those 3 years,
Yeah.
were you solely focused on the case of getting your professional license, or did you go back to the amateurs to kind of keep your skills sharp?
I went back into the amateurs, but my father, he made me work, and I started working. I'm a graduate in sports studies.
Right.
I've got two 2-1 in sports studies from Edgehill University, and I could have gone down the teaching route, but it wasn't September. When the teaching season starts is September time, and it was around October, so I was in the middle of,
University had started
no,
already.
I graduated, but it was like there were no vacancies available, and I thought, you know what, from October time to about July, when you start applying for the jobs, I'll just take over by PTing, going into PT industry. So I did the course and started the work as a PT, and it was hard work. It showed me reality, basically. When you've got to get up 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning for a client, go back home, have your breakfast, come back for the next client at 9 a.m. and then 10 a.m. go back home. My day was never ending. I had clients at 7 p.m. in the night, and my day was just never coming to an end. I thought, well, when I get that boxing license, I'm not letting go. I'm going to give it my all.
No, awesome. It's really inspiring and well done to you. Let's talk about your amateur career. How many amateur fights did you have?
I had 35 amateur fights.
How many of them did you win?
30.
30. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty decent. That's really good.
As an
ratio, to
amateur,
be
it's
fair.
good, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Did you think to yourself you needed more fights, or were you told that you were ready to become a pro, or did you feel that you were ready to become a pro?
I won a tournament in London called the Haringey Box Cup, and I remember Uncle Esther coming over to my house. I don't know what was taking place at the time. There was some big fight happening at the time, and we'd like watch boxing and football together. We used to play football together,
Okay.
five-a-side football, and Uncle came over to the house, and I came back from training, and Uncle's like, "What you up to?" And I said, "I've got a big tournament in London on the weekend." So Uncle, joking around with me, goes, "You better win it, because I'm gonna be dancing on the street. I'm gonna wake the street up when you come back as a champion from the Haringey Box Cup. But if you lose, don't come back on the street, because I'll end up, embarrassing you." To put in a good way. And guys, come on, you're hosts and you're involved in the media. When a boxer loses, come on, the media jump at them, don't they? Jump at him or her.
Well, I think boxing.
It's a
I
very
think they
hard
look at it the
sport.
wrong way. If a
Yeah.
boxer takes a loss, I think they
Yeah.
need to follow the MMA route, where if
Give him a chance
if
to come
if
back.
an athlete does take a loss,
Yeah.
they can still come back from it. Like AJ's taken a loss, and I believe he can come back.
Most
I
definitely.
don't think it's a bad thing, but because Floyd Mayweather has revolutionized the sport in his way, and he said, "I've never been beat." Now every boxer feels that
He can't
they have
lose
to
his
follow.
own.
They have to
Yeah.
follow that path, and some of the greatest boxers of all time have lost, like Mohammed Ali.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think boxers should not concentrate that. I think it's about providing great fights for the fans.
Yeah.
And it's like
Entertainment.
yeah, it's
giving
entertainment, and that's what it's all about
So,
for me. That's how I look at it.
What happens is, the year before, Chris Eubank Jr. had won the Haringey Box Cup. It's a massive international tournament. So I get to the final, and Uncle Esther, surprise, turned up to Alexandra Palace. It
Okay.
was a famous venue, and turns up, and I win my fight, and we've come back to Rochdale, and Uncle said, "Look, I've seen that you can, make some noise in the pro game. Let's switch over." So that's when we applied for the British boxing. No, he said, "Have a few more fights," and then I ended up in Ireland going into the Celtic Box Cup. I won that. Went in the university championships, won them, and he said, "Come on, it's time to turn over." And I was training with some professional boxers at the time, and we turned over and got denied our license and never gave up.
Have you suffered any major injuries as an amateur? at all?
No, never suffered any injuries.
No hairline fractures or
No,
anything?
no, nothing. I wouldn't be given a license if I, suffered any of them injuries. You can't. I don't think you can have any hairline fractures.
Isn't it called a hairline? What's it called?
What?
It's not a hairline fracture. On knuckles.
No, my hands are
any
fine. No,
any
no.
soreness or any broken
Touch
knuckles or
wood,
anything?
No, nothing.
All right, all right, okay, so that's good. So you've not suffered any
No,
injuries as
no.
of late. What as an amateur, what education was given by the British Board of Boxing when it came to nutrition and making weight?
Do you know the harsh thing about boxing is you've got to do absolutely everything yourself. Do you know, like for example, strength training, you've got to do it yourself. You've got to do your nutrition, everything yourself. It's between you and your coach. If your coach can advise you, that's a bonus. Or you've got to do your own research.
Okay.
Or, fund yourself. Employing a nutritionist.
Do you have a nutritionist, or have you?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I've been
So
working with.
what
a
does
nutritionist.
your coaching team consist of?
I've got a nutritionist. I've got a strength coach,
Yeah.
and I've got a boxing coach.
Right. Are you going to add on to that, or do you feel that's a strong enough base that you got for the time?
We
being?
just go by each performance. By every performance, that's how we.
And are all
take
three of
on.
them in your corner during fights, or is it strictly your boxing coach?
My boxing coach and my physio be in the corner.
I'm presuming he loosens you up during. before
Yeah.
fights
The
and stuff, yeah.
physio warms me up.
Yeah.
He takes me through all procedure.
How long has the physio been part of your team?
Physio. I've had. I'm in a new boxing camp now,
Right.
and it's been since I've joined the camp since January.
So
But-
so fairly recently.
No,
then.
but since my debut, I've always had a physio
Right.
with me.
Ta- Take me through your first fight.
Oh,
Nerves,
my first.
feelings.
No, there's no
Andre
nerves.
Sejapur or whatever it is.
Andre said.
I can't pronounce his surname.
I can't.
I apologise.
So what happens? I've got my license, so I've been, all the country getting behind me, England getting behind me, Ireland, all of Great Britain, and people. I get messages from America, from Poland, Germany, around Europe, around the world. I get messages saying, "Good luck. How can you advise us on diabetes and all the best to you?" So, the lead up to the fight, I've had the media in the gym with me from Monday to Friday.
What was that like for you?
It was something new. It was something new. ITV, Sky Sports, BBC, AOY Digital, PTV Prime, from the Asian channel to the English channels, everybody across the board. And I coped with them well. And Sky Sports and all them channels followed me from my home up to my fight. And I had my first fight was more of a street fight. It wasn't more of a boxing, because I had a big buzz behind me. I had a lot of fans who turned up, over 250 people, and I fought their fight really. I got an easy win, but I could have performed much better.
I guess you have to get the first one out of the way. Just
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
set
Don't
the
forget, it
tone
was
and-
3 years I hadn't been
Yeah.
in the ring, so there was a lot of ring rust. And
definitely.
I was sparring Amir Khan at the time, because he was making his comeback, and that'll be a great fight, me and him, because we're both welterweights and we're both British as well. And we had some great spars. And
Can you give me a bit more than great spars?
yeah,
Did you knock him down?
no, I didn't knock him down. He was coming back for his fight against Phil Greco,
Okay.
and we had some tasty spars.
Is he really quick? Does he really what's his hand speed like now, or since you've been training with him?
His hand speed, I wasn't really shocked, to be honest with you. I found it, quite normal, to be honest.
Because
with
that's
you.
what he's known for, isn't it?
Yeah,
His
his
hand
hand speed. But he must have been working on another aspect of training during them sessions, because I wasn't really in shock with his hand speed. No, I found him normal. Found him absolutely normal. Yeah.
Yeah, you told me something off air about the fight with Ben Fields, and I think you should tell everyone what you told me before we came on the air. So when you fought Ben Fields,
Yeah.
you took it on how much notice?
12-hour notice. So what happened was, I was getting ready for Friday prayers. So we're getting ready for Friday prayers, and I remember being next to a microwave. I'm about to have my lunch, and I get a call by my coach at the time, Alex Matvienko. He says, "Ali, you're not fighting such a body. You're fighting an undefeated lad tomorrow." So I said, all right, yeah. We've not cut any corners in training. I don't like cutting corners in training anyway. So I said, Alex said to me, "We've had great sparring. It's going to be another good day for you." So I said, "Yeah, happy days. Let's go." And then I'm getting my food ready, and Asad phones me. He goes, "Listen, you're fighting a undefeated kid tomorrow, and watch what you're eating. You know, make sure you're eating good, full of energy tomorrow. And we had a great fight. He was 3-0. I was 2-0 at the time, and I beat him.
What was that feeling like, being someone who's got more wins than you and you outclassing him?
It woke me up. You know, inside my body, I've got to be switched on. You know, for the fight, I've got to put a good performance on, and I get a lot of respect for that fight because I was only going into my third fight, and he's doing well, like, in his career, and I went and got a great win over him.
No, definitely. What are your thoughts on facing journeyman? How many fights do you think you're going to have facing journeyman?
I'm not sure. I'll just leave that to my team. You know, all I concentrate is on boxing. I'm not bothered about the opponent. I'm not a matchmaker. I'm not a manager. That's their job.
But don't you think some records of undefeated fighters are
Padded.
massively padded because of fighting journeyman?
And then they get found out. But like I just gave an example. In my third fight, I fought an undefeated boxing Ben Fields, and it was a good test. And I think more boxers should fight the undefeated boxers and, you know, get wins or, you know, a good lesson, you know, learn something from the actual fight. Because, you know, for example, you have an exam, the revision is the training, and then your exam is the actual fight, and you should, you know, just learn from your mistakes. And I made a lot of mistakes and I'm learning from them, but like I said, it's the promoters and the managers who make the fights. But like we just spoke a few minutes ago, if a boxer gets a loss, it's a major setback. He's wrote off. Everyone forgets about him. Anthony Joshua is a prime example. All the world were lifting him, and now, he's rubbish. He's a bodybuilder.
But I think that, in my opinion, I think that's more because, one, no one gave Andy Ruiz a chance, especially with the notice he took the fight on. Two, everyone was talking about how AJ.
Yeah, but that's the only
everyone was
non-boxing
talking, but
fights.
everyone was talking about how AJ, Tyson, and Deontay Wilder were the three premium heavyweights of the division. Luis Ortiz would you call in the A2 class.
Yeah.
And Andy Ruiz Jr. was seen as lower than Big Baby Miller was.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's because Joshua's been written off because of the loss. I think it's the fact that this was a gimme fight, right? Because this was the I'm in America, I'm here to set a precedence, especially after Deontay Wilder demolished Dominic Brazil.
Right?
Right?
That's a great win.
I guarantee that more than likely that was probably on AJ's mind as well, that he had to come out and make
Better
a show.
performance.
Right. So that's where I kind of disagree with you. I understand.
What about Danny Garcia then?
But I'm only. We were talking about the AJ example. Hence, I was just defending the AJ example. I don't disagree with you with the Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
However, I did disagree with you with the AJ, and that's why I feel that because, like I said,
well said. Yeah, but I just think any boxer takes a loss, it's a major setback.
no,
It's not really. Lewis took a loss.
Yeah, he was built up. He was up there at the top. For example, if a boxer at the start of his career takes a loss, and like you mentioned, the ticket sales, people say, it's a waste of time. You know, if we buy tickets for his fight, he's just got beat. He won't really make it. Why should we spend money on such a body?
So do you think that's why so many people pad their stats with journeyman?
Yeah, and like the MMA we touched on, if a fighter in the MMA world takes a loss, he's not over. He's built up in the right way. The promoters help that fighter, whereas in the boxing world, I feel as though if a boxer loses, he's left to the side. He's not being built back up, you know, to stay at that top level. Whereas he's been put to the side more.
I disagree with it. Like, for example,
sport.
if a boxer did take a loss but they were fighting good competition, I would still go and watch
you've got
that person's fight because they're fighting the best. But that's how I see it. Maybe the boxing public need to review their thought process when they are watching.
But that's it. But then you're differentiating casual boxing fans to actual boxing fans.
Because boxing fans support. They know it's a good fight.
Because I understand what you talk about in terms of, you know, if you're lost, you're knocked down and stuff. But unfortunately, still in this country, while boxing is growing,
Massively.
The majority of fight fans still are casual fight fans.
Yeah, yeah.
Hence, hence why I think in boxing especially it's more detrimental, as you said, if you take a loss.
Yeah.
How do you see the progression in the casual fans becoming smarter?
In Britain?
Yeah, in Britain.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to see entertaining fights and 50-50 fights and giving fighters, a chance. Like Chris Eubank Jr., we all know he's a good fighter, but he's been beat in 2 fights and he's come back and he's become a world champion again. And fight fans have stayed behind him. Even the casuals have. They've supported him. Like, for example, did you watch the George Groves fight?
Very good. Yeah, I knew he was going to lose against George Groves because George Groves is bigger than him.
Yeah, and there's better boxer.
I think that was super middleweight as well.
Yeah,
and that's not his weight category.
Yeah, he should be at middleweight.
Yeah,
I
should
think.
be.
And people got behind him. He's come back from that loss. He lost to Billy Joe as well, and he's come back.
One of my favourite fighters.
Great fighter, isn't he? And he got beat off George Groves, but still, all the boxing fans are behind him, and the casuals are saying he's a great fighter. How he goes about it in training.
Right, So I was just gonna say we do need to sign off. Unfortunately, due to
it's flown by
the hour closing.
We could keep it for another hour.
If you just quickly want to promote your socials and people, how they can get in contact with you for your next fight.
Guys, stay in contact with me by visiting my website www.mohammedaliboxing.com. My next fight, all the details are on there. 3rd of August is my next fight in Oldham, and I'd like all the Radio Sangam fans to come out and support me, and you can purchase your tickets off my website. And I'd like to thank Hanif and Wajid for inviting me to your show. Thank you guys.
Just let us know when your fights are on. If they're ever on a Sunday or a bank holiday, then we can we'll definitely love to come down. Thank you so much for coming down. We absolutely appreciate it. We'll keep an eye. Just let us know when your fights are, and we'll promote you. We'll basically promote your fight.
Yeah,
brilliant.
We'll try and
3rd of August.
Definitely. Right. Look forward to it.
Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Me and Wajid will be back after a few.
मैचिंग मैं कर कर पावा हर चीज वे